Okay, perfect. Waiting on a notification. And boom. Okay, and we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a wonderful guest with us, none other than Brother Mandene Muhammad, who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. And we want to start off by thanking him on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing?
Yes, sir. This is such an honor for us to have you on the podcast. So many people, once I let them know that I was going to be interviewing you, that had just wanted to hear you for all these years that we've seen you with our late great brother Munir Muhammad, and now we get to hear from you yourself, for ourselves. So the first thing that we want to ask you, sir, is when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, let me say this. It seems like I'm getting a little feedback. Is there feedback on your end? Do I need to cut the volume down over here?
No, sir. You good right now? You good?
Okay. All right. Maybe that was just me buying time then. But to answer you, all praise due to Allah. But to answer you, but before I say that, though, bro, let me thank you on behalf of the Crow organization. I want to thank you for coming on Elevator Talk with me a couple of weeks ago. I really enjoyed that interview. I felt it was kind of fun and cool to flip the script on you.
Yes, sir.
You've come out swinging, man. You've been interviewing everybody. It's like every time I, go on Facebook, you with somebody else. So, it's great. I kind of aged you backwards. I thought you were younger, but I thought you just had an old soul. But you getting on up there, man. But you're great. You come from great lineage, and I want to just take my hat off to you. And just pray Allah continue to bless you and for you to stay focused and for the People's Podcast to continue to grow and to do great things. And everybody that's listening, make sure you contribute to this, brother, so we can continue to do the People's Podcast. But to answer your question, I always like to answer it this way. I was born a Muslim. I just became conscious of it in 1991, and that was like the beginning of my senior year in high school. And I used to go over to the mosque, and I was like a Sunday member. I would just go over there. Here, in particular, was a late great brother, Brother Wali Muhammad. I would normally hear him, and then me and a friend of mine, we would go back and we call ourselves, trying to teach the people. Yes, but what really kicked it off is we had student minister Willie Muhammad on about a couple of weeks ago, and he had mentioned, I never heard anybody else mention this book, but it was actually what sparked my interest was a book entitled When the Word is Given by Lewis Lomax. And I didn't even really read the book. I was just so intrigued by the black and white pictures that was in the book. And it was just, it was great. It was great. It piqued my interest, and it started my journey from there. Back then, it was a lot of black-owned bookstores that was out. Reading books was a big thing back then, and so I used to go on my book excursions and anything. And then, of course, I was into hip hop back then, and so anything that had the star and crescent or the name Muhammad in there, it intrigued me, and I just latched on to it without any understanding. So the 5%ers and different books, and going to the different bookstores, and I just went from there. And then on my way home one day on one of my many excursions, I saw Crow at his old address, 9145 South Ashland in Chicago. And I saw the star and crescent on the door, and I was like, but I was on the bus and I only had one more ride left, so I was like, I'm just go by there at a later time, and which I did. I followed up on it, and I went in there, and because to go back a little, I started going to the mosque, but I didn't have a good understanding. And so, like I said, I went to one FOI class, and I just didn't, like most people, that understanding wasn't there, so I just kind of fell off during that time. But I was still reading. I think it may have been also I probably wasn't ready to give up my pork chops either. So but I then I started, like I said, I still really started going after, looking into different books and listening to the music. like most people are doing, just becoming that type of person, just, sympathizing pretty much. And so, I'm bringing it back up, and I saw Crow, and then I started going there, and I started going to the classes. It was a smaller setting, of course. It wasn't a beautiful plush seats as the mosque, but, I just, I felt like it was a good fit for me. And I just came to the conclusion that, and I was 17 at the time, I didn't understand everything, obviously, but it made more sense than what I've been taught throughout the years. And just because I didn't understand it didn't mean it's not true. So I said, I'm just going to stick this on out until I get a better understanding. And, many years later, I'm 48 now, so I'm still here. And all praise is due to Allah. I still can say I'm a follower of the teachings of the Hon Elijah Muhammad. And I'm still here.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
Well, I went a long way, but I just want to give a little background.
No, sir. No, we need that. Both of my sisters, Miriam and Sister Naima, send the greetings. Sister Sabira Muhammad sends the greetings. And thank everyone who continues to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Now, what high school did you go to in Chicago?
It was it's another thing. I stayed, my mom raised me. I have an older brother. He's a few years older than me, and my mom made her transition when I was about 8 years old. And then but I praise due to Allah, I got a close family on my mom's side and my dad's side. So my mom's sister, she didn't hesitate. She got me and my brother, and she adopted us. So then I ended up staying with another family member. We stayed in Maywood. And so if you know anything about Maywood, there's only one high school, so it's Proviso East. So I was out there for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And so after that, it was time to shift me off again. So I came to the city, and then during that time, they had to go by districts as far as what schools you can go to. There's only a few schools left. My brother went to Simeon, but my brother was a hellraiser. And so I was a little hesitant about going there. And so, I declined on that one. And at the time of my moving back, I actually started staying with my biological father. And so they lived close to Morgan Park High School, if you remember Morgan Park High School.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But they had an open campus. And so I had sense enough to know I didn't have that type of discipline to go to a school with open campus. So there was only one school left that was out the area. But I went there for selfish reasons. The name of the school was Thomas Kelly High School. And I went there because it wasn't a whole lot of Black people. So I figured I could join the basketball team much easier. And so it kind of worked out in the beginning, but my basketball career was short-lived. I was only on the team for about 2 years. So, but I ended up staying at the school. It started off with only a few Black people there, and then gradually the attendance under the enrollment of Black people picked up more. And ironically enough, even though it wasn't a lot of us, we're still pretty cool to this day. Many of our grandparents and establishing their own careers. So. But Thomas Kelly High School is the name of the high school. It's a little known high school. A lot of people have never heard of it, even here in Chicago. So, but it's around Curie and Gage. Well, it used to be Gage Park. You probably remember those, hearing about those high schools. But that's where I went to.
Okay, yes, sir. Excellent. Okay, now I'm familiar with Proviso East because they would play against Naperville in basketball, and of course, right. Simeon and stuff. But I've never heard of Thomas Kelly. But I'm glad I didn't know you played basketball. What position did you play?
I was a shooting guard. I couldn't dribble that well, but I could shoot though.
Okay, good. Praise be to Allah. That's tight. That's
so
tight.
If was nobody near me, I could definitely make a shot or two. But but I couldn't dribble worth a lick. So that was short-lived also.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, how this week is the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad's birthday is coming up October 7th, and your the organization that you took over with for Brother Munir is in honor of him. What is it about the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad that struck you and made you want to, dedicate your life to keeping his memory alive?
Well, just for clarity, Brother Munir was one of 3 co-founders, so we still have 2 co-founders left.
Right.
Brother, yes, sir. Brother Shahid Muslim, who's a director. He was actually a first officer of the Hon Elijah Muhammad, and Brother Munir's blood brother, Brother Halif Muhammad, who's acts as the secretary here, and he was in the ranks also. So it's 2. Brother Mandene was just that, he was a short brother in stature, but he cast a huge shadow.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
military, he was, he was a giant, even though he only stood 5'5.5", I believe he said. But so he was always out in the forefront because, as the Quran says, those that's more careful in their duty, you know, and he was that. So but there are two other co-founders. So we still, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm, taking over the organization. I know my position. I play my position.
Yes,
but
sir.
certainly they allow me to do what I have to do as far as the representation and the pushing forward of the organization. And I don't exactly remember your original question, but I do have to do it the best. Could you ask me one more time? I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
get
What is it about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that makes you want to keep his legacy alive and keep it on the forefront of people's mind?
Oh man, where can I start, brother? I mean, just to know that a man loved us who we didn't know and he didn't know us, but he had a mission that he was dedicated to, and he was earnest in what he did as far as his mission of the uplifting of our people and what he dedicated to Master Farrakhan Muhammad, Allah in person. And just to know that somebody loved us before we even know how to love ourselves. And I mean, not even to mention, the men that he produced, Brother Minister Farrakhan, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and those are the prominent names that we're familiar with. But there are countless of other ministers who are giants in their own city, and the fact that so many documentaries are even coming out just about Muhammad Ali, and I say this, if you feel that Muhammad Ali is so great, then what does that say about the teacher?
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
look how we marvel at Minister Farrakhan, but and Malcolm was the minister in New York, so nobody thought that he could be, anybody could top that. But when Minister Farrakhan came in, it was like Malcolm who, but they all had a teacher though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That teacher was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and just as you and I are talking, you catch any Muslim one-on-one, we can hem you up. We can talk to you for hours. So if he can do that for us, I mean, come on, man. This man, we love the cake, but we don't love the ingredients. It's when you talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it raised the level, the criteria for leadership so high they don't even bring them up. So I mean, Minister Farrakhan said it best. He said, Brother Munir asked him one day, in what word can you best describe the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? And he just said, life. And I think that about sums it up. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it gives me life, knowing who he is and his mission. And I just feel like it's incumbent upon me to do this. I feel like like the mob, I'm in too deep. It's blood in, blood out. I don't know anything else.
Absolutely.
I don't know anything else. So I know I went a long ways, but damn, brother, this is to know what that man accomplished, meaning the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it's funny. I did our sister, one of our members, Kim Muhammad. She's over she does our Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and she's always diving into these Muhammad Speaks. And if you remember the Crusader newspaper here, Dorothy Bavell, who's over it, when she was with the Pittsburgh Courier, the messenger of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, used to write an article in there.
Yes, sir.
And so when he left to start the official Muhammad Speaks newspaper, she actually cried, because she didn't want him to leave, because not only did she know that when he had the article in there, it raised the level of circulation for the newspaper, but just the truth that he spoke. And even her predecessor, Dan Burley, who actually wrote the preface in the Message to the Black Man, who was a staunch Christian, a chain smoker, and a drinker, but he knew the greatness of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that, even stuff like that, it just bears witness and just shows, when you know this man and you honest with yourself, you have to applaud him, you have to honor him, you have to keep his name out there. And so, the importance of an organization like Pro to keep the name, accomplishments, history, the ideas of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad alive. When you go to the doctor, you tell him your ailments, what's going on. He have to reference a book.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, when you're in the courtroom, you're talking to these lawyers, they always reference so-and-so versus so-and-so. It's in a book somewhere. If you were drowning and somebody saved you, you always remember that man or that woman. And so here's a man, the Hon Elijah Muhammad, who I didn't know personally, but what came out of his mouth changed my life and saved me personally. And so I'm indebted. And so you need a place like this to go back and reference a man like that to show what he has done, because, every time you talk about him, you have to talk about him in the sense that this may be somebody's first time hearing about the Hon Elijah Muhammad or hearing what he's talking about. So it's always important. It's a no-brainer for me.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And I want to make sure that we thank you again for the work that you all have put in and continue to put in. And so many people showing you love in the comments. Thank you all. Please, what has been your the greatest accomplishment the most memorable accomplishment of the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad prior to 1975 that you use when you engage with the people, like something that you point to talk about what the Nation of Islam accomplished, but especially the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad?
I don't know if I can say it's an accomplishment, but I guess you can, because I look at it this way, because we have so many educated people out here now, and then we don't even have a toothpick factory or a toilet tissue. Well, we got something with toilet tissue company now, but when you think about the Hon Elijah Muhammad and the year that you mentioned that the messenger's birth anniversary is coming up, October 7th, and we look when he was born in the early 1800s or the late 1800s. Think about what he was taught. Think about the basic stuff that he was taught. You love your nieces and nephews. You're always showing them. They have more education now than what the Hon Elijah Muhammad had at their age, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
So he was getting the basics, blue, black, Jane, Mary. And then after that, going working in the cotton field. And as we say, broken English, you're in the rural South, Sandersville, Georgia, not even a big city in Georgia.
Yes, sir. Teach.
With all that being said, the lives that he changed with just the words out of his mouth. I mean, that, just changing the mindset. We don't even have to talk about the physical buildings and the structures that he did, but just to change the very thought process of a people, and Black people at that.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
I mean, that's the greatest accomplishment. I mean, we talk about everything that's going on now with the crime and everything, and it all goes back to the mental aspects of our people. The Hon Elijah Muhammad changed all that. He changed that. And so if that changes, then everything else will fall into place. So that would be the greatest accomplishment. And again, we don't have to mention the stars that he produced.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's extra. I mean, look at us. Look at us. We are offsprings of those teachings, man. We're offsprings of it. So I mean, that alone. Every time you see a brother out there, that's changing his life for the better via the teachings of the Hon Elijah Muhammad, that bears witness over and over, or sister, it bears witness over and over again the greatness of the Hon Elijah Muhammad.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And some people showing you love. Brother Daniel says, great teachings. Yes, sir. His family is from that side of Georgia. Wonderful. Sister Sabir says, thank you for the work at Crow Legacy and WVON. She's a fan, I'm assuming. Some people showing you love. Now, the next thing I wanted to ask you, sir, is speaking of Chicago, people talking about Iraq, the murder rate, the crime. What is it about the teachings that keeps you going with such a? I've never seen you be sad, post anything. Now you are to be upbeat. What's keeping you going in the city like Chicago?
Hey man, it don't mean that we don't have days. I mean, I don't have days, but I mean, it's some days you wake up like, man, everybody talking about they need a personal day or a day to themselves like that. And I think about your father. We don't have the luxury of that. We almost have to be bedridden or just sick to the point that we just can't do anything. And even then, you're still probably working the phones. So when what keeps me, again, I mean, I don't want to make it sound cliches, but for what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did on our behalf, how hard he worked. I mean, we got it easy, man. I mean, the believers back then, under him, they learned off a blackboard. Here we so spoiled now. We got social media. You know, we got these phones. We can text. We can read on our phones, and you know, we got all type of books and CDs, and we can listen to it on YouTube and whatnot. We don't have no excuse. I mean, we got it easy, easy. I mean, people don't even have to look at this, you know, live now. They can go back and look at it later. You know, so I mean, it's just, and what keeps me going is just knowing that I know better. And I feel like it's a responsibility on me. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters that I've known, that I've grown up with in this work. And they have gone on, you know, we don't talk, and wasn't nothing to talk about. You know, we're not on the same page. I wish them the best. You know, the only thing that's unforgivable is denial of God and his messenger. So, and plus, I try to remind myself, Brother Munir used to tell us all the time, you should just remember, you got 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on the banana peel, so you liable to fall in at any time, so stay humble. You know, so what did the minister always say? You know, don't laugh at anyone or make mockery of anyone, I'm paraphrasing, that's going down.
Yes, sir.
You
yes,
know,
sir.
you know, so you try not to do that. And so what keeps me going, brother, is just knowing that I know better. And you know, I try to stay focused and rededicate myself every time Allah blesses me or to see another day. You know, as the brother out of Brother Derek Muhammad, he has a saying, he posts every morning, I'm looking down at the dirt and set up at it, everything else is negotiable.
Yes, sir.
Allah
yes, sir.
willing. So we blessed to see another day. As the Bible says, show yourself approved. Go out there and make it work. And like I said, a lot of people, you know, like I said, I've seen a lot of people come and go. And normally when they say, you know, I got to go get myself together and then I'm gonna come back, I know I'm not gonna see them again. It's slim to none. It's like a addict, you know, not making mockery, but like a crackhead or a heroin addict. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna clean myself up first before I go to rehab. Where they do that at? You know,
Yes,
that's the whole purpose of rehab. Brother Mandene used to always say, Crow is like a washing machine. We're not a mosque or a temple. It's an information center. It's an ongoing processing class because we know at some point you're going to be tested. You may not pass. So you got to have enough in you. That's what he always try to tell young people, young brothers. Any young brother that took interest in this, he would take them to the side. Same thing he put into me, he put into anybody else. You know, if you show just a little bit of interest. And he would always say, I'm just trying to save you some time. Because we all gonna go out there and cut a fool. You know, I don't care how staunch a believer you proclaim to be, especially on social media. Now everybody, you know, solid Muslim, they're super Muslim, you know, until you see them.
They drilling every day.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we laugh, we crack jokes. I mean, but the test that's out there will take you under. Your environment is stronger than your nature. So you have to be around like-minded brothers and sisters and in the right environment. So that's the other thing that keeps me going. I do my best to stay around believers, you know, because you can't be around people that don't believe the same, because somebody's going to give in to the other. Either they coming your way or you going their way. So, and water can drip on iron or steel long enough, it'll wear it out. So if you're around the wrong elements, something's gonna give. And then once you realize that you did something and you got away with it and you wasn't struck down, you know what happens after that. It's a snowball thing.
Yes, sir.
Careful.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Great answers, and thank you for your honesty and transparency, and thank everybody who's showing you love. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Now, Brother Mandene, for those who don't know about Brother Munir, right? So from growing up in Chicago, my mother would take us, when me and my siblings when we were younger, to the actual Crow building and show us around. And Brother Munir always showed love to my mother and my family. But then, of course, he interviewed my father, came down here, my dad went there. It's always been love. But for those who have not had the personal experience with Brother Munir, what would you tell them about his legacy?
Man, let me just say this though about your mom and your dad. I mean, he loved your dad, but even when they would bump heads, he get mad at him. you can never get mad at your mom though. your mom, she may have been hardcore with you all or the other sisters in the vanguard and everything, but he just loved her as a soldier, as a believer. And so and I mean we used to just go down. Then when your dad was stationed down in Atlanta, we would just go down there just to get a meal. You know, it was just all love. I mean, he loved it up until the very moment. So that's family down there. And you know, it's just something different about the believers down there, in particular under student minister Sharif Muhammad. But Brother Munir was he loved hard, and he wore his feelings on his sleeve. And as they say in the street, when it came to the Hon Elijah Muhammad, anybody could get it. You understand? So if you saying something out the way, if something wasn't kosher, you know, he'd go up and it wasn't disrespectful, but if it was something, you know, he'd try to get clarity first. But if you double down on it and you showing disrespect, you gonna end up a part of a commentary.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
He gonna go to work on you. But he was a brother. He had a sense of humor. You know, he loved his family. He loved the believers. He loved the believers first and foremost. You know, again, he loved his family. But if you wasn't in sync, you know, like Jesus said, you know, they came to Jesus. It's like sorry, your family's out there. Like, nah, my family in here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's our brother Munir was. So but he loved the Hon Elijah Muhammad, and up until the very end, you know, he defended him. He likened himself to the Attorney General for the Hon Elijah Muhammad. You know, he studied. You know, he told student minister Nur Muhammad, he came on to bear witness to him. He said that he gave Brother Mandene when he was younger the soul interview of Mr. Farrakhan in New York City. He said, you want to learn how to defend the Hon Elijah Muhammad, you listen to this. But you know, but Brother Munir was a brother that always studied. He always had his Quran. And you know, about, you know, one thing about Brother Munir, he used to always joke. He said, if I can ever, get my language down and talk well, you know, it ain't gonna be able to do nothing with me. But he knew the teachings. He knew the history. You know, he could tie it in. You know, it'd come out hard sometimes, but you couldn't. You know, I was listening to the messenger earlier, and he said the doctor doesn't always, you know, you don't always feel good when he's working on you. But once it's over with, you okay. So Brother Munir was a brother who just he loved the Hon Elijah Muhammad. You know, brother Farrakhan summed it up at his janazah. You know, he loved the Hon Elijah Muhammad, and he wanted you to know about the Hon Elijah Muhammad. And he didn't care who you were, what color you were. When you came home, he didn't even solicit off a lot of people. They would just bring it up. White, black, judges, lawyers, whoever, mayors. We had white U.S. senators, you know, just saying, hey, we didn't come over the same way, just bearing with us, understanding, you know, who presence they were in. You know, even Jesse Jackson, the first time he came over, you know, he leaned in to Brother Munir and he just looked, he's like, nigga, where you from? You know? So, I mean, you know, when you have somebody that really believes and stands on their belief as far as the Hon Elijah Muhammad, and Brother Munir had an excellent example with Brother Farrakhan. He was his secretary over on the West Side. You know, Brother would always say that he the minister saw it as a demotion, which it was. I mean, it was a man that was national representative, and then, you know, to be over a little mosque on the West Side, you know, but Brother Munir saw that as, you know, the best thing since sliced bread, you know.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you know, he had an example in front of him, you know, somebody that was right there that defended the Hon Elijah Muhammad. So he went from there, man. So it was the Hon Elijah Muhammad all the time. Even when the man came from out of town, you know, he would always call. You know, sometimes I just knew it was his ring when he would call it. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, he would get off a plane. He would come down 71st Street just to come in, just to see the place. I mean, no matter where he was at, whether we was in Africa, London, wherever, he didn't care what time it was. If Crow was closed. You want to know why it's closed? Well, brother, it's 5 o'clock in the morning now. Okay, well, let me, it didn't matter. He loved, and he always represented no matter where he was at, no matter where we were at, it was always about the Hon Elijah Muhammad. And so, it's a lot, man. I can go on, but he loved the messenger. The messenger was his life, and he tried to burn it in our hearts, and which he accomplished with a lot of us. But that's the way I am now. I'm able to bear witness to a brother like Brother Munir, because he showed me that there's nothing wrong with defending and loving the Hon Elijah Muhammad. You get much more respect that way. Because look, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. And so we might as well go with a winning team, and Hon Elijah Muhammad represents that winning team for us.
Wow, beautiful. Go ahead, Brother Mandene. Yes, sir. And so many people showing you love in the comments, and I can't wait. We had a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors. I'm going to put this directly on YouTube after this. As we go, Brother Mandene, speaking of WVON, how can we support you with your viewership? Where do we go if we aren't in Chicago? How do we hear you?
Oh man, you don't just have to be in Chicago. With modern technology, as we mentioned, you could WVO. I have a show. We involved a lot of things, but the show that I'm doing is entitled Elevated Talk, which airs every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can if you have, most of us have smartphones, you can just download the iHeartRadio to your smartphone and search WVON. You can listen to it that way, or you can go to WVON's Facebook page and you can see and hear us, along with my co-host, Brother Emmanuel Omar. And ironically enough, this Tuesday, Sister Aziza of Rise Magazine would be one of my guests, along with Brother Harry Lennox, the actor, who was good friends with Brother Munir, and also Dr. Abdullah Pratt, who is a medical emergency doctor here in Chicago, but is definitely a believer and a supporter and just a good brother. And ironically enough, his father, Dr. Edwin Pratt, used to come on all the time with Brother Munir. And just like yourself, we got a picture of young Dr. Pratt playing with toys at Founders Day when we used to have it at the Salam. And just like we have pictures of you when you were a small child. So
yes, sir.
That shows the importance of Crow right there. Just going back. I mean, you all grown. Yes, some have children, some not, but you just see the growth in the people. And so that's one way. Of course, Crow Media. We also have Crow TV, the Munir Muhammad Show, and Muhammad and Friends, which is hosted by Brother Jabil Muhammad, Brother Munir's son, who's taken over as the host of the television shows. And we come on, we stream live every Wednesday at time to come on 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and every Sunday at 2:30 Central Standard Time. And if you're in Chicago, you can see the Munir Muhammad Show Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Channel 25 in Chicago, and Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock in Chicago. And of course, Crow is open 7 days a week. For more information about Crow, CROE.org, to get more of that information there. And Crow Radio, our brother George Malachi started Crow Radio. It's a 24-hour radio show, and it's just you hear the messenger, you hear the minister, you get a little Khaled, you hear Dr. Ava, a young John Shabazz, and as we know him now, Dr. Abdullah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
Malcolm X when he had sense, Muhammad Ali, other ministers, so that's 24 hours, news at the top of the hour. So it's something he decided to do himself. And so, you can just go to crowradio.net and check that out. And that's 24/7. So, I mean, this is something that Brother Munir had wanted us to start, because prior to his transition, he was we were starting to do in the process starting to do renovations. We're going to start doing podcasts, and he wanted to have different people do podcasts, and there has been spinoffs of that. His daughters has started one. Sister Nora with our brother Wasim over in Camden have started one. Prince Asiel's son, Yosef Asiel, was actually down there in Atlanta. Now I got to link you all up.
Please.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing the podcast, and so it's been spinoffs of that. So, and of course, with me doing the radio, this is nothing new. That's how Brother Munir started off. WVON used to be 24 hours, and he would always say that he would just go to sleep with the radio on. It's almost like he had I'm sorry, if his antenna went off, he heard something about the Hon Elijah Muhammad, he would jump up and call the other co-founders or call whoever was up. It was like they talking about the messenger, calling on the radio. So they started off as what he called professional phone callers. And then from there, the brother had done so much. Years later, we started going to the prisons. Started seeing the brothers in prisons, the men, because we knew they had out there. And he just wanted to always, the only thing he didn't want, as he always would tell them, he didn't want anything from them. Only that once you get out, talk to these young brothers and sisters out there and stop them from throwing rocks at the jails. Stop them from trying to, follow in your footsteps.
Yes, sir.
But
yes,
he
sir.
saw at the time, it was a growing female population. And so that's what he started focusing on, was going to see the sisters. Primarily, before we started going downstate, we started going in Cook County. And so we did, Brother Mandene did a show dedicated to the sisters, these women in division. I want to say it was Division 4, it was a female division. The superintendent at the time was Superintendent Deborah Hopkins. And we did that show every Sunday night. I think it was about 9 o'clock. And we still was doing the shows, and sometimes we would have a full day. We would have a show, a TV show that morning. Before we had our studio. So we would go downtown to Green Street, 322 South Green, do a show down there. Actually, 2 shows. We did a live show. We did a tape show. Brother Munir would maximize that time. We were there from 9 to 12. So we did 2 shows, a live show and a tape show. Then we would come back to Crow, have our class, have a slight break. Sometimes we would have a show that night. So that show would be at 7:30. Muhammad Friends still comes on every Sunday night at 7:30 on Channel 19. So we would have a live show that night, 7:30 to 8:30. Get a break. So I think actually the show may have started at 10. So after that, we would go down to WVON's old station on Kedzie. And Brother Munir would do a show. I think it was about an hour show. And that was dedicated to those women there. The superintendent allowed them to have the radio on to listen to the show. And he did that for a year. And so this is what I'm doing on the radio now is nothing new. Brother Munir kicked that off years ago. And so, I'm just following his lead, brother. I don't even remember your original question, but I know I just went off.
No, you gave us the information. I just wanted people to know how they could see and support you, how we could see and support you. And now we want to go to our quick 60-second commercial break. Some people are liking it.
Pay the bills.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For everyone who is watching, if you would like to be a sponsor or donor, please cash app the People's Podcast. My brother, okay, here we go. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. If you all need television or editing, please reach out to my brother. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. Please reach out to my brother. He does a great job with that. Also, my sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please reach out and get those books, amazing books. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all around the country. And right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia, we love our tiny dancers. Sister Rashida Rafat, Raw Communication, her 5-year anniversary special promo. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, media relations, or content development, she does a great job with any of that. Reach out to Raw Communication, Sister Rashida Rafat. Our brother, student minister out of Austin, Texas, Robert L. Muhammad, conflict mediation and squashing the beef. He's in the community doing the work of the Most Hon Elijah Muhammad. Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, his wife, wrote an amazing book, Giving Birth to a God, The Science of Child Rearing. Please reach out to Sister Fudia Muhammad. Thank you very much. Brother Kenneth, Bowtie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the country. We're coming right back to our brother Mandene. Sister Sherry Muhammad, Asiatic Minds Online School. She teaches virtually, an amazing program. Brother Shaheed from Chicago, math doctors, everybody's there if you want your child to go to school virtual. AsiaticMinds.com. Dr. Henry M. Carter right here in Atlanta, Georgia, King Henry's Turkey Legs, Brother Rashad Muhammad of Chicago, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services, my father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, also Down Is Not Out, AbdulSharif.com, and last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra with a K and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Thank you all very much. Right back to Brother Mandene. Brother Mandene.
Man, wait, I gotta say this, man. First of all, I need to take a page from you. You got a lot of sponsors, man. I'm struggling to pay the bills every week on my show, man. But I mean, but hearing your sisters supporting you like that, your blood sisters,
yes, sir, yes, sir,
with their own business, it's just like I said, you all come from good stock. Because like I tell people, Student Minister Sharif could have been in Wyoming. He still would have been doing everything that he's doing now in Atlanta. So don't play him cheap, man. You all doing it too, man. I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you very much.
I gotta go out there and hustle, man. I'm not renting tomorrow.
Oh no, it's every day, brother. We still promote, try to get sponsors and donors.
Rent is due every day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I was going to ask you, in your time in your life, have you ever faced fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna be totally honest with you because I was thinking about this the other day. I had a long stretch. I don't sleep good now. That's because, I'm trying to make sure everything's taken care of. But there's a long period of time that I used to be afraid to go to sleep. And I'm just gonna be totally honest because I was afraid I wasn't gonna wake up, man. I was fearing death. And it was an interview that Brother Munir did with Minister Farrakhan, one of the last ones. And it was about, I think the question was about pressure. And and how we give into pressure. And the minister, I was paraphrasing. I'm gonna post it tomorrow. But he was saying in essence that you bend into, devices that pacify us or take our mind off of that because our faith is not strong. And so what that was telling me is like my foundation wasn't strong. I wasn't on my dean, as they say. So I had to strengthen that because we don't fear, nor do we grieve, and so if I'm not, but that has to be more than just words, though. It has to be an action, and so, we have to learn to love death more than we love life.
That's right.
Because if I'm dying and knowing that I'm doing the work of the teachers of Hon Elijah Muhammad and the liberation of our people here, what should I fear? Grave, the grave can't hold me. If my deeds, if my deeds and my actions are working in concert with my mind, my thinking, then I'm good then. Because hey man, look, the only way to escape death is not to be born.
That's right. That's right.
We look. One of the old cats told me. He used to tell everybody this. He said, "Look, ain't none of us making it out of here alive. So we might as well, as they say in the church, get right, church, and let's go home."
That's right. That's right.
So we got the truth. Let's go out there and just do it, man. When once there again, I was listening to I know what it was on Grow Radio. I'll tell you, I need to check it out. The minister was doing it was a throwback. It had to be in the late 70s. I think it was entitled Obey the Last Messenger. But he was saying, once you realize, that you are going to die, but if you're doing this work, then that's the beginning of life. I'm paraphrasing. Of course, he put it in such an eloquent way. But once you realize that realization, you can really start living then. It's like,
yes, sir.
Let's go. You know what I mean? Because you got to live every day like it's your last and every day like you have 1,000 more. So what does that mean? It has to be a proper balance. So, we can't live in fear, but we got to know we're not living forever either. So it has to be a sense of urgency. So if we're operating with a sense of urgency, we'll be okay. So, but that there is room. You do have to recharge the battery and you just can't run yourself down. But at the same token, if you're not good, you're not going to be no good for nobody else. So again, there has to be that proper balance.
Excellent. Praise be to Allah. And thank you for teaching to us, Brother Mandene. So people continue to like, share, subscribe. And Brother Daniel says teach. My next question for you, sir, is your trial. What has been your greatest trial and how have you overcome that trial?
That's a good question, brother. I think it has to go back to death again. I have to say it was 2019. It was 4 major deaths in my life. It started off, I have a close family. I got my dad's side, my mom's side. So I'm close to both, but I had a quadriplegic uncle that any of those that know me know and that's a part of what I didn't say. You know, like when we do those shows, I had a quadriplegic uncle that would help take care of. So I would get him up in the morning. So before I would have to go down and do the television show, I would have to get him up and prepare him for his day. And then when it was time to put him to bed, I would have to come back in between shows to put him to bed. And we stayed all in the south suburbs. And so, you know, he was like a father to me, and he showed me. Again, I'm going a long way to answer the question, but here's a man that he went into the army, made it past Vietnam, came back home, got into a serious car accident, and he had been. I'm 48. He was a quadriplegic. He lived to his late 70s, and so he lived way past his life expectancy. So my point of bringing him up, he never complained. He would really have to be uncomfortable to complain. And so I often think about him, and that would set me straight is when I started complaining or feeling woe is me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
because
sir.
it was things, you see how you moving around in your seat and I'm adjusting, you know, if you're sitting too long, he didn't have that luxury. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so he was humble in that, and he loved his family, and he looked out for us in his passing. So he passed that year, that 2019. He was the first death, and then there was another uncle who was close with also. And then that July 9th hit, you know, I got that call about Brother Munir. I didn't know he had made his transition. His wife had called and told me that he had fell out, and he just rushed him to the hospital. I'm thinking when I get in there, you know, I'm just gonna see Brother Munir fussing and cussing with a knot on his head. But his son met me at the door. It's like we lost him, and it wasn't no last talk or, you know, maybe some last instructions for you, anything like that. So it was like, boom, you know, there's a man that's like a father to me. You know, you talking about coming in to this work at 17 up until now. You know, I grew up. And then after that, after Brother Munir's passing, a younger cousin who was like a son, little brother to me, you know, was gunned down. You know, and so back to back to back to back, and not saying that that I'm exclusive or was exclusive to anything like that. Far from it. But that was my first rodeo of anything like that. So that literally shook my foundation, you know. So, but again, you know, it's the teachers of the Hon Elijah Muhammad that kept me sane. I didn't start drinking, I didn't start smoking, I didn't start doing nothing else that would, you know, take me under. So it was rough. It took me some time, you know, but I'm here. I never left, but I wasn't operating the way I should have been, you know, especially with all that I knew. But, you know, like Brother Munir used to say, you know, don't grieve for me. I lived a good life, you know, and that's how I look at it, you know. So, you know, that's it shook me up, but you know, man, it's you know, even at the Brother Munir's viewing, you know, I credit brother Wazir, formerly Brother Donald. You know, it's something about the brothers that's close to the minister. You know, some of them just know. You know, they're not just bodyguards. You know, they're not just security. They have an understanding. And he knew my role, and he saw me. We grew up together in the teaching. That's one of the people I grew up with in the teaching. We don't see each other every day, but when we see each other, it's almost like, you know, it's like yesterday. But as the minister was leaving out, you know, he motioned for me to see the minister. And the minister said, you know, if you need anything, you know, he does, you know, let me know. And then I was blessed to be able to, you know, to talk with him after that, me and actually Brother Jamil. It was just those words of comfort, you know, because it was anytime you go through a transition of someone with such a polarizing figure like a Brother Munir, you always going to have your challenges or, you know, things that's come about, you know, in the organization that's going to test you. And so it was, you know, the words of encouragement and solitude from Minister Farrakhan and reflecting on what Brother Munir, you know, all the car rides and talks with him. And even when he cursed me out, it was a lesson in there too. And of course, the foundation of the Hon Elijah Muhammad, it helped to sustain me. And so I think that pretty much will be my trial. And I don't know if you would call it a trial, but I would call it that. That was my trial, so all praise due to Allah. I made it past that. I'm still here, and I pray Allah. Again, back to that talk I heard with the minister, I pray Allah I don't die of death unless I die of death from a Muslim follower of Allah. Yes, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, sir. Shout out to Brother Wazir for being a key figure who does that. Like you say, he's not a bodyguard. He's more than a bodyguard. Who's somebody who could, because he's done it for me and plenty of people where he can pick up on the spirit and be like, nah, you need to see, you need the word. And he's always on time with that. So praise be to Allah. Okay,
and that goes with experience and understanding, not just with him, but just knowing how to move, and not just because I would tell people, and then when they see me now, they used to always see me with Brother Munir and everything. It was like, it's good to see you around, Fly, you still around. I would tell him, well, I was that fly on the wall that you didn't kill, I paid attention, I listened, and a lot, that's what's wrong with a lot of young people today. Some older also, we don't listen. We don't listen, and we don't know how to take criticism and instructions properly, and a lot of times it's to our detriment. Yeah.
Right. Yes, sir. Well, what has been your greatest joy, sir?
My greatest joy. All praise due to Allah. So many. I mean, I don't know the greatest. I mean, I've had a chance to travel with Brother Munir, not only around the country, but outside the country. Seeing people, being in the presence of great men like Minister Farrakhan, watching young brothers like yourself flourish into becoming great men, and taking a lead on certain things. Just being able to be in a room with giants and know that I don't have to take a back seat because I got the teachings of the Hon Elijah Muhammad. Being a small business owner. I mean, that's that's fine. I mean, I don't know, bro. It's so much to come so far. I mean, I guess my biggest joy is just still being in my right frame of mind, man. With so much going on in the world today, man. So many people, going crazy or checking out of here, man. Mentally and physically, excuse me.
That's right. That's right.
That's still being here. It's still being an active follower of the Hon Elijah Muhammad. So I have to go with that, man. I have to go with that.
A great answer. If you could choose any album, you said you just like hip hop, but what is your favorite album of all time?
Of all time, man.
Of all time.
Wow. That's of all the time. I don't know. I don't know if I can name just one, man.
Okay, well, you can name multiple ones.
I mean, I was a big fan of a Brand Nubian. All for one.
Okay.
That first one. Even though when you really look at it, he had some deplorable things he talked about, but Biggie Smalls, his wordplay and his storytelling ability was great. So I mean, Ready to Die is classic.
Okay, Ready to Die. Okay, yes,
yeah.
sir.
Talk about on the lighter note. What else? You got me there, brother. Those two. I mean, I listen to everything, man. I don't know if I ever just had a favorite, man. BDP KRS One. I listened to that. I even brought MC Hammer's, first CD.
I mean, well, I got MC Hammer behind me. I'm a fan. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that one, X-Clan, I enjoyed that music. I can't really say that I just have just one, that I really like, man. But yeah, that's of course Biggie Small. I mean, Jay-Z. I mean, I have to, the newer artists. I know you're a big advocate for a lot of newer artists. We just had to agree to disagree on some of them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that 90s, that early 80s, that late 80s, 90s hip hop, most of the 5%ers I really enjoyed. Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian, as I mentioned, X-Clan, even though they wasn't. That's Public Enemy, of course. You know, Fear of a Black Planet. You know, I used to play. Now that's one that I would definitely play from beginning to end. Fear of a Black Planet. So that I have to say that was one of my favorites. You know, because I look at a favorite album or CD. It's something that you could play that you really wouldn't skip over anything. Absolutely. And that was one that is where you can really couldn't find anything to skip over. You know, so that's good. You know, I'm a fan of Common, you know, Kanye, old and new, you know, he's creator, you know. So I'm just a fan, man. You know, even some of those that we probably really don't hear a lot about. Freddie Gibbs, you know,
I like Freddie Gibbs.
You know, what's it, Benny the Butcher? You know,
Benny the Butcher, yes sir.
Sometimes I feel a little old, like, man, they just cursing too much, man. So I just have to go. I start feeling bad, like I don't need to be listening to this, man.
Yes sir.
But I mean, the wordplay, the skill set of a lot of these MCs, you know, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Jay Electronica, of course.
Of course, yes sir.
He had us waiting all that time for that CD, you know. But still, but I tell you who doesn't get a lot of recognition as far as MCs period is Rhapsody. You know, out of I think she's from North Carolina.
Yes sir, yes sir.
She's just not a cold female MC. She's a cold MC.
Yes sir, yes sir.
She does not get the acknowledgement that she deserves. I feel she can hang with anybody. So she's, you know, Lauren will always be my favorite. You know, anytime she decides she can come out, I don't do Lauryn Hill jokes at all. So I don't play around with Miss Hill. I don't play around like that. You know, if she's late, she's late. She probably has something to do.
Yes, sir.
You knew what you were dealing with.
Absolutely.
You know, so Miss Hill, Rhapsody. We don't hear a lot from Jean Grey anymore, but she was someone else that was.
Jean Grey was good.
Yeah. See, so you know, so and Rod Digger, and
okay.
Bahamadia. I keep going on and on. Bahamadia was cold, man. So you can see I really love my hip hop, man. So you know, I'm a fan. So I don't know. And if I didn't mention Rakim, I'd be remiss. So you know, so it's
of course Rakim.
Absolutely. So it's a lot. You know, I don't necessarily have a favorite or a favorite CD. I'm versatile.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And Sister Sonia Muhammad sends the greetings, and she says, yes, sir. And so many people showing you, I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Just one more question for you, sir. No, sure. 2 more questions. Will you ever write a book on your personal life?
You know, someone asked me that some years ago. I thought about it. Maybe so. You know, everybody else has done it. You know, I got a few stories to tell. You know,
okay,
I think I got a book in me. Yes, sir. Good. So the answer is yes, sir.
Great, and please, and when you decide to publish it, please, can the People's Podcast get the exclusive? We definitely want to see it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my last question for you, sir, is what would you like your legacy to be?
Oh man, that he was dedicated to the mission. That he had to follow up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah.
That he loved the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that he stood tall and stood true to it. And you know, it didn't waver, man. If I can go out like that, you know, I'm good. You know, I don't know what more. I mean, you know, what's the point of having all type of money and, you know, clothes and cars and whatnot? And, you know, I love my people. My people are like hip hop. You know, I love you. God, dog, you get on my nerves sometimes, man. So, but that just, again, it shows the beauty of the messenger, man. We were some tough people. If you ever listen to some of those question and answer periods, you know, doing a theology of time.
Yes, sir.
Some of those people, man, I'm surprised they didn't get snatched up. You know, the messenger was so patient with them. And as the minister is now, when I think about it, you know, but we have a great teacher, you know, so. But I just, man, if I can just get just a little bit, if I can just go out that way, you know, as a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, man, I'm good, you know. Praise, hey man, but look, I really appreciate this moment. It went quicker than I thought it would. So, you know, I have to take my hat off again to you.
Thank you, sir.
You know,
I'm proud of you, bro, Mandene.
one of my favorite interviews is what you did with Captain Akil. He was one of my favorite captains. He's always laid back and quiet, but it's just that story that he has to tell. It was one of my favorites, man. And man, you interview everybody, bro. So I just stay focused on what you're doing, man. May Allah continue to bless you, bro. Whatever I can do on my end.
Thank you, sir.
You know, but this all that we doing, I'm doing, you doing, it's still not enough. You know, we got to do more. We got to go after our people, man. So, but just stay focused, and it's only an obstacle when you take your eyes off the prize. So, brother, you know, may Allah continue to bless you, brother. And again,
may Allah continue to bless you, sir.
May you die not unless you die death of Muslim follow of the Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I want to thank everyone.
Be sure everyone, I'm jumping in, everyone to listen to Elevator Talk tomorrow. Sister Aziza Muhammad of Rise Magazine will be my guest, along with Brother Harry Lennox and Dr. Abdullah Pratt. 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Talk of Chicago WVON. Again, you can download the iHeart app to your smartphone, search WVON, or if you're on Facebook like you're on now, you can just go to WVON's Facebook page at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time and check us out there. Okay, I ain't gonna jump in no more.
No, praise be to Allah. Thank you, because I was definitely gonna say that. And I want everybody to make sure that we continue to like, share, subscribe. And thank you, Brother Mandene, that support you in your all of your efforts. Let's stay connected, sir. This is Joshua Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, brother.